All right. Peace, and blessings, family.
Peace, peace. I'm just being honest, connecting with the Black experience is the most disliked popular guy, Barry Axius, in the quarantine building with the greatest woman alive, the essence of blackness, the soldier, the warrior goddess herself. Effervescent, beautiful Queen Mama Roll. What's up with you, young lady? What's popping with you? You know what I'm saying? It's quarantine time.
I love it. I love it.
You already know. You already know what it is. How
I'm
you?
a championship boxing rant. You know how you go to the boxing and
yeah.
Like next to this ring. It's
we gotta get you hype. We gotta get you right. You know what I'm saying? It's quarantine time. It's that I'm just being honest, quarantine time, and you know, we're gonna speak on the Black experience. We're gonna speak on a lot of BS. A lot of whatever. First of all, how are you? What's popping? What's going on?
I'm good. I'm working and I'm feeling good. I know my house very well. I can tell you that.
Man. Right.
Grateful for this time to be in my house. But I've been in the backyard and front, walking around my whole neighborhood. I don't found Are you serious?
Hey, you getting real familiar with your whole neighborhood, right?
Oh my God. That's an understatement.
So are you ready for, I guess, things to be back to normal since niggas think this is not normal, what's going on, or whatever they say?
Things are right now. I really feel like we're experiencing the Jetsons, but that's just my personal opinion.
Okay.
And why I say that is when you watch the Jetsons, I grew up watching the Jetsons, Inspector Gadget, and all that kind of stuff. But I remember watching the Jetsons, and like Judy would be at school, that's the daughter, and then she'd be on school through the computer. And she'll be talking to her friends through the computer. So I feel like we've
well, that's about to happen. So I mean that's about to happen right now.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that's how I feel. How you doing in this quarantine? I know you and the 3 chefs, and I know you're still getting it in.
We're busy, you know. Nichols is busy. I mean, I think that for me, right now, it's one of the best times because I get to relax a little bit. Even though, you know, me and the 3 Black chefs, shouts out to Chef Will and Chef Mike, I'm holding it down. We're in our 4th week of serving the community. This past week, Thursday and Friday, we fed over 1,500 people. So yeah, and we got young people working as well. So it's definitely a push. But for me, it's allowed me to really dive deep into my catering business and my Seriously Delicious, trying to transform the Void Cafe into Seriously Delicious. I'm getting a lot of new customers because I have a lot more customers that probably wasn't aware of the African marketplace that are following and seeing what I'm doing and now are tapping in and ordering food. So I'm doing foods from Saturday to through Monday, which is kind of helping me out a lot.
Right on. So
are we on FB yet?
Yes. Hold on. That's what I just got. That's what's going like this. Like, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm like, let me start this. Hold on just a minute. Yes, we are.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, where the heck we at?
Yeah. I was like, what did I do? That's what's going like this. Like, sorry. See my back voice. Hold on me. Here we go. Bam. So we on there. Woo.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
So we gotta do the intro again.
Yeah, kind of.
I'm just being honest, connecting with the Black experience. It's the most disliked popular guy, Barry Axius. And if you missed my intro before, I can't do it again because it was just so real and so.
It was live on YouTube.
Oh well, then there you go. Well, for the social media FB fans, it is still the Queen, Goddess, Warrior, Fighter of Fighters, Elegant Mama Roll. There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: what has been the pulse for you, being out there during this time? Like when you're serving people, have you been hearing anything, noticing anything in our community that maybe we haven't even taken note of yet?
People are thankful in that moment. There's not a distress button that's being pushed on them at that particular time because they're being serviced, but the anxiety is there. One anxiety is, are you guys going to be here Thursdays and Fridays? So I at least know that out 2 days out the week, I can at least know that I'm going to get a free meal, a free good meal.
Right.
I think that what we have to be very careful for is there's individuals that have already been off the grid. And when I say that, I mean by some folks ain't worried about no stimulus package because they ain't never had no stimulus ideas, or they've never worked in a particular fabric of what America feels we have to as people, right? So we have the outliners that are getting it from their soil, and this pandemic is just whatever to them. But then you have folks that are on the grid. And I say that folks like ourselves, even though we're very, very independent, as independent contractors and things of that nature, we don't work necessarily for a company. We work for our own companies. But at the same time, we still function in some of the normalities that a lot of Americans do, right? It's those people that clearly, if they are not back into what they deem as normal, going back to work, getting that normal paycheck, being able to kind of navigate in a way where there's a movie theater, there's a playground, there's a bar, there's a club, there's a sporting event. There is actual a good amount of income coming in a household so we can kind of stay and sustain our living habits. What I find is those will be the people that will be turning faster than the people that a lot of people will deem as those outliners, because the people that are on the grid, they don't really know this to be normal for them, right? For a person to kind of be locked in a household where they have to deal with all of everything they probably didn't want to deal with, that's a person who's a work body, who's been able to work, and doesn't really know how to access kind of like the home station, right? Not knowing how to really deal with the kids for a particular long amount of time, or not really understanding the dynamics of a house father or a house mother. Those folks, when they start losing their resources and their access, those will be the folks, I believe, that will be the first ones with the brick at the supermarket, the first one with a brick at a clothing store, looting, engaging in criminal activities that they probably never thought about because of their desperation. I believe those folks are the folks that, why they're sending the stimulus package is because once you get them off the mindset that the government's going to save me, the government's supporting me, then you have a serious situation in all our states. I don't think they have broken just yet. We have a lot of people dying. We have a lot of folks stressed. The capacity of depression, I think, has really kicked in. So things like Three Black Chefs are doing, things like my brother Les Simmons are doing, things that you're doing, things that a lot of other folks, Miss Jackie Rose is doing, like just to kind of provide something, right? Whether it's laptops, whether it's some type of service, to provide something to keep these people balanced is commendable, because I do believe what I see, people are at their breaking point. They just haven't broken yet.
I hear you. I'm always reminded, Barry, when I was young, like in my teens, I didn't even preteens. I remember being around a lot of elders talking about there's going to be a change that's going to come and it's going to shift everything. And you're young, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't know what the hell they talking about, because you're young. But to live long enough or to be alive when that change comes is like right now. Because, if you go back through history, you've always seen when there's been these great shifts and great changes. We know that the last big pandemic that was on record, 1919, 1918, somewhere around there, you go back and see, people with their face masks on, couldn't come outside, couldn't do a bunch of stuff. And I think these shifts happen, but really I think the shifts happens to also help us to balance out some of these problems and power. Like I feel like there's going to be some shifting. Those of us who are go-getters. I also think people who may be participating in activity that may be illegal, I think that's going to make them primed to rule and govern oneself, because you're going to have some get up and go about yourself. Because I think kind of even some of the playing field a little bit. Even as we talk about, so I'm always kind of curious when people do these conversations where they talk about Black folks and the Black agenda and and black people in state of emergency and all that kind of stuff, when some of them have helped to create some of the issues that we have in our community, you're going to come with a state of emergency. But it's kind of like somebody who's been, I don't know, robbing you, going to come talk to you about security. You'd be like, what?
Wait a minute. Wait. You black people in a state of emergency? Really?
Yeah. So state of emergency, I guess P. Diddy with Revolt hosted a state of emergency. And so the one I seen, I don't, so I know the one time I was on television, the one I seen was like a video chat with him, Killer Mike, Van Jones. I can't remember the other brother's name. And I thought to myself, the one that I seen, I was like, okay, they got 4 black men on here talking about the state of emergency. Something don't look right about that. And these aren't even black men who have been in our community.
Angela Rye wasn't on that one? Huh? Angela wasn't on that one?
No, this one was the 4 of them. Because a couple of people shared it with me, and I thought to myself, because they were all meeting with each other on the computer, it was like the 4 blocks. And so I thought to myself, when I see people meeting with folks who are not ground level people, then you're going off a theory and what you think you know. It's different than standing in the middle of something working than you looking from the mountaintop telling me what you think is going on at the bottom of the mountain. And I feel like sometimes with so-called black leadership, if there is ever a such thing, because I'm going like this, I think that that's just dangerous and it's sad, because you really don't know what's going on with black people. You may know how to sell to black people. You may know our weak points and things that we gravitate to because maybe we in some pain or some hurt, but you don't know how to get us motivated. You don't know how to help us sustain life. And you really don't care about what's going to make us better human beings, which is going to take some boundaries and some accountability and some responsibility in a major way. If you're trying to build a new world, you can't build a new world with old world rules. Can't. It's not going to happen. Like you just can't.
Accountability and responsibility. That's crazy. What I think about everything I heard, because a lot of folks from, my people from the East Coast was like, oh my God. Because I was talking to one of my homegirls and it was like, we were talking about kind of like, I guess the same stuff they had kind of, engaged with. And a lot of people were sharing it. And they would call me up, you need to talk about it. And I'm like, am I on it? You know what I mean? Because I was like, go on Revolt TV. I'm like, well, why? Am I on there? Like, I was being sarcastic. But she's like, nah, it's a state of emergency, P. Diddy. I'm like, you know what? Man, trash that shit, yo. Trash that shit, yo. And the reason why I say that, and I don't want black people to come at us with this idea of we're not being communal, or we're not being together, or we are just outcasting and attacking other black people for whatever good deeds they're trying to do, or folks that are trying to commit themselves to new ideas or how to help with solutions. The reality for us, I believe, most of us have seen this play before. You know what I mean? Not all of us, but I think most of us have seen this play before. And if we continue to fall into the trends of the same playbook, we are going to get the same outcomes. That's why we're still losing, in the second half of the game. I like to utilize a football analogy. When it came down to the Stephon Clark situation in 2018, what happened was we had a great first half as the 49ers, for those who are football fans, as the 49ers did in the Super Bowl this past year. I mean, great. I mean, the offense we were running, the defense we were playing was impeccable. But what happened in the second half, just like in the second half of Stephon Clark's murder, you had individuals coming out. We played, but we weren't playing aggressive. We were on the same team, but we really weren't. We were basically falling apart. So in the fourth quarter, the Chiefs, who were the police at this particular time, they had a dominant fourth quarter to win the game. What I'm saying is we are always the first half players, but we never end the game in the fourth quarter. And if we have to go to overtime, we don't have the fortitude to get past the overtime. And when we continue to utilize these weak ideas, and the notion to have a panel that says state of emergency for Black America, as if we have not been in a state of emergency since we've gotten on this soil. Well, since we've been on this soil and a lot of us got taken back to the soil, it is asinizing and it's ridiculous, and it plays into the emotional concrete that always falls on Black people, where we're stimulated by moments. We're not stimulated by movement. We're quick to rationalize things when it's bad, but we're not able to rationalize things in a longer term or longer period. So when you have a Negro that has showed us in his own business practices, and I go back into looking at his career with his own artist, Danity Kane, 112, Total, Biggie, Shine, G-Dep, Faith Evans, the band, the first one. You go on and on and on and on and on. Black Rob, where are all these people at? You know what I'm talking about? Mace, there is a level of controversy and there's a level of do wrong that these other artists have spoken out about with him as a leader. And I'm not knocking the things and the accolades that he's proclaimed, kudos. But when I have an individual that I'm still looking at funny for the murder of Tupac Shakur because he put a bounty on him, right? And nobody wants to remember that. Nobody wants to remember that young Puff Daddy back in the days when it was that East Coast, West Coast war, there was a bounty on Tupac's head, like there was a bounty on Biggie's head. But we won't talk about that because, you know, Puff Daddy, take that. We just want to celebrate his celebrity. I just can't swallow the juice that they're selling and the Kool-Aid that they're providing because I feel fuckery. And then on top of all of that, let's not even speak on personal business. Niggas with power, money, and access like that, you don't go on here conducting this magnificent panel and actually act as if you have the same problems as us. Nigga, you're not waiting for a $1,200 stimulus package. Nigga, you're not worried about your rent getting paid. The only thing that you're worried about really is making sure your fans are entertained so your brand can maintain. Because when you go ahead and do a dance-a-thon and then center it with your Ciroc alcohol company being a sponsor and donating $1 million when we're told that liquor has pretty much been a part of our dissension, how can that make me feel like you have the pulse? What should have been done in this panel was actual action planning, not great talking points, but actual action planning. I am P. Diddy, and I am going to put $2 million in Harlem to make a new health facility. I am so-and-so in California. I am putting up $2 million to put this new facility here in Crenshaw. These are kind of the things that we need. We don't need the Jerry Lewis thons, because remember when Jerry Lewis used to do all those phone-a-thons? Oh my God. Yeah. We don't need that to help market your brand. I just think that it's old news with bad players, and anything that has Reverend Sharpton on it, it makes me kind of back up a little bit. And it's just Van Jones. This is a wishy-washy Negro. I mean, look at the people that they're putting on. These aren't actual builders of the Black community. Because to be honest with you, sis, to be very clear, and then I'll stop my rant for a second. It's not that hard to fix the hardest problems in the Black community if the rich, elite, special Negroes get off their ass, find the leadership in these communities that have been working in these communities, and start dealing with some of the people, the business owners, the developers, and start developing shit. Because really the developers is all about, okay, how much is this going to put back in my pocket? What is the benefits of this for me? I am not, as a retail business, going to move my retail business in this community if I know I'm not going to make any sales. I myself will not put high-end apartments in this community, but I could put, maybe some low economic apartments. But what is the incentive? There has to be incentive. And if we are not looking at these leaders and not challenging them to do more and stop talking to us about our issue and stop trying to pretend like we don't already know what it is and provide real, substantial, sustainable. Don't be like the Clintons and go to Haiti and say we're going to donate a whole bunch of money to Red Cross and shit not get built, because that's all they doing. None of that shit impresses me. Oh, you're going to go give the money to the healthcare workers? Are the healthcare workers going to get it? We already know how this shit plays out. I think that for me, I'm tired of the same simple bullshit. Let's do some shit that we really can see, that we really can stand on, and it separates us from being just like the oppressor. Because all they doing is utilizing oppressor tactics and saying that this is a black narrative. You don't got us like that. We ain't all we got. Because guess what? If we were all we got, there would have been a small black business grant or fund right now, in particular in the most hit black areas that have black businesses that are falling apart because we don't considerably have any support, period.
Yeah, I always felt like the money that they used to turn up at the club, they could have funded some programs. They could have built some sustainable things. That's just the money that they throw at the club and at the strip club. If they have taken that money, I hate to say it like that, and put it to some use, that would look very different. But I also think, Barry, if you right on, I agree with everything you said. But I also know, too, that they are also where they are because of how they help to mess up black people. They're not there on good merits. They ain't there because they did all of this wonderful stuff to make our communities better. They are there because they were part of the tool that helped to tear down our community. Let's just be honest. So again, I don't know how we ask somebody who's been terrorizing my house to help me get a security system. That's crazy.
You're right.
That's absolutely crazy. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just feeling like, these Negroes. This is all the time. It's always an attempt to pick who our leaders should be.
Yeah.
There's always been.
Yeah.
People have been saying, I wish Obama was there. Why? He didn't do shit for black people. Why? Yeah. Because he makes you feel good? Because he's a black man in the White House? Why?
Yeah. And the thing about it now is a lot of niggas are using some of their influence to get a whole bunch of black kids and black people masks. Do we really need masks? Let's be honest. Do we really need masks? I'm just being honest. Do we really need masks?
That's political.
I'm just saying, because after we get masks, right? Literally, someone is giving me masks when I ask for money to support something that I'm doing, a project that I'm doing. They're giving me masks. Okay, I'll take the masks, but reality is, how you gonna give me masks when I ask for money to help support? See, the mask after this thing goes is gonna be put in the closet as memorabilia of when we all had to wear masks. Get what I'm talking about? And if we are practicing social distancing, if we're practicing shelter in place, we don't need masks. We need facilities. We need things that will organize and galvanize our people after this is done. Because guess what, Queen? As you and I both know, watching the Great Depression in 2008, we remember the after, right? And we are still not recovered from the after of the 2008 Great Depression. We still have not recovered from that component. So now niggas are doing panels, doing dance-a-thons, doing mask gives away, and there's this like this new big thing. Let's go ahead and give masks to all the black people. We're gonna take pictures. We're gonna put masks, and this is not knocking us from being more safe, but does that solve the alcohol problem? Does that solve the domestic abuse problem? Does that solve the missing girl problem? Does that solve the health disparaging things with like food insecurities in our community? Does that solve any of that? Does a mask solve any of that? And it doesn't. Does a dance-a-thon when niggas is dancing like buffoons? And niggas always want to be entertained. And I'm not mad at celebrating some of the things. But you and I both know niggas got egos. When that boy D-Nice went viral and he became the talk of the entertainment community, because a lot of these niggas ain't been talked about because they ain't been able to do shit, right? I know niggas is trying to figure out, well, how can I get my name in the face? So when P. Diddy comes, and I'm not saying that he probably didn't have good intentions, but the reality is he's a showman. And he is, in a lot of terms, I'm sorry to tell you, niggas, he's a con artist in so many different ways. Yes, he is. He's a very much a con artist. The niggas are putting it out there, and for those who are not paying attention, you're going to be like, yeah, oh, there is a state of emergency. Thank you for putting a highlight on the truth. Negro, we've been in a state of emergency and never got out of that state of emergency.
Right on.
Because if you're not going to sit there and create a fund or say on that panel, I am going to provide 100,000 laptops to the children in Harlem, Brooklyn, who don't have laptops, you're not really doing anything that's revolutionary. So we're talking about getting masks before we're talking about getting laptops. We're talking about dance-a-thons to raise some money allegedly for the healthcare people who are working, instead of worried about getting laptops to those kids that have no access to any of that. The asinizing things that come out of our so-called elite Negroes, special Negroes, and the blaming, the pointing fingers when, like you just said, sis, a majority of those entertainer Negroes have led to our demise, not only by the distraction, by the inability to sit there and allow themselves to maintain this individualism and bring it back to the culture. I always hear this conversation about it's for the culture, it's for the culture. Well, hell, news brief, the culture is dying because too many of you Negroes are moving into the Hamptons or Calabasas, and you're not going ahead spreading that wealth into the communities you used to be from.
Yeah.
Taking a few people out of those communities ain't doing nothing, ain't saving no grace. It creates this mentality of I gotta get mine, you gotta get yours, and that has never played well for Black community in general.
Never. And you know what the other part, Barry, that gets me? I don't know how they can sit at the table with the descendants of people whose parents totally screwed us, whether it was through bad loans or cheating us out of every damn thing we had or doing experimentations on us. Or so they sit with the descendants of these people's children.
Yes, ma'am.
And plot against their own people. Don't you feel some kind of way about yourself? You ever sit in a meeting, Barry, and you're with another group and you watching how they moving and they can actually go back and you know they could go back and work with their community or change stuff on their menus, or, you know, like they really have an economical base. They actually have a base where their people own houses.
Yes.
So they're not always in low income housing or whatever. Don't you feel some kind of way when you sit amongst these people and your people not at the table? You don't feel like maybe I should try to figure out how to do this for myself? Because as memory serves me right, Barry, and in history, that's what we've always done. We've always figured out how to help each other, always.
Well, you said something before we got on online that I love that you said. You said, I'm tired of Negroes saying we have to have a seat at the table. Can you go and talk to the people about what break that down for a little bit?
Sometimes I hear people say stuff like, well, you got to be at the table. You got to have a seat at the table. And I think to myself, first of all, I get to the table and it's a whole bunch of white folks, no disrespect. And then there's one special Negro there whose job it is to get your ass on the table. But then they're not really giving us anything. It's kind of like the picture of integration. We'll be so concerned to see us in the picture, but we don't represent shit in the picture.
Yeah.
We could have just built our own table. Tyler Perry, which I'm not a big fan of his films, but that's just me. It ain't stopping him. I love when he said, instead of me being at somebody else's table, I decided to go build my own table.
Yeah.
And that's what the challenge is for me. I'm not interested in I think representation don't mean shit, but that's just me. That's just Rhonda working in the community for 30 years. Representation don't mean shit when you don't got your own. It don't mean anything.
Yeah.
If somebody loves black people and wants to help us, they would just help us. We shouldn't be their little pet or little lap dog. We shouldn't be that. You know, I'm thinking about when they had that damn meeting and when Bloomberg was running and throwing his money around.
Don't go there.
Look, brother, they're gonna bring their special Negro out, black man, of course. I'm not trying to be funny. Well dressed, suited, and booted. You know what I mean? That don't mean a clean cut Negro don't mean nothing.
Young too.
Negro don't mean nothing. Like this dude about to do a slow job. He gonna talk about what was it, $9 billion? How much it was, Barry? How much?
Billion.
$1 trillion for all I know.
$7 billion. $7 billion. I want to say $7 billion. Yeah.
That he gonna pump. Bloomberg's gonna pump into the black community. But I was told whether if he win or not, because he got money like that. Well, dude, look, you're from Bloomberg. You ran New York. You know how black people are doing in New York. Yeah. You've been able to show us what you really did. No, you showed us how you targeted black men walking down the goddamn street. That's what you showed. You showed us that you didn't like us. You showed us by the high ass rent. You showed us by the way you gentrified Harlem and Brooklyn. We just keep on going. That's what you showed us, is that you don't want us there. So how does a Negro like the mayor in Stockton come to a room full of black people, most of which were church folks? How do you come sit amongst us and push some idea that if we support this man for the presidency, who's no different than Donald Trump, honestly.
Talk your truth.
They call you a Negro in private or a nigga in private and not in public. Donald Trump would say it in public. He would say it in private. Yeah. You know, what do we do with Negroes like that? What do we do? Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about those kind of Negroes. Representation doesn't matter. To me, it does not matter.
It doesn't. And the thing about it, and I'm gonna second you on that, sis. Because let me get your where's your fan at? Let me get your fan. Let me get your fan. Listen. Hey, I'm gonna second you on that because I was in the same meeting that you was in. Yeah. And what was told to us was even if he doesn't get elected and he dropped out after spending a whole bunch of money
and get his ass whooped by Elizabeth Warren, but go ahead.
Yeah, Elizabeth was beating him up. And he dropped out, and we've heard nothing. We've heard nothing from the special Negroes about what Bloomberg can do to help the situation right now. My problem is this.
He did get $1 million supposedly. Well, go ahead. For his city.
Well, who got the $1 million?
For black mayors and cities that supported Bloomberg. Okay. Atlanta got $4 million. They said he got $1 million. I'm just saying.
Again, those individuals got that money.
Well, the city's supposed to.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. The reality is this. If we don't start, and I think that for me, the problem I have with Negroes is we allow the same fuckery to be the same fuckery, be the same fuckery that turns into tomfoolery, and then wonder why our conditions are the same conditions that our conditions are. Because we allow Negroes like Al Sharpton to stay relevant. We like Negro ain't got no plan. He roams around.
Big Al, which Al? Both Al's?
Both of them. Because Big Al was the snitch, and the rat was Big Al, and the skinny Negro is the more celebrity Al, right? You know what I'm saying? And when we have Negroes like that, because we want to honor the fact that we want to honor the elders for being there to guide us, what is he guiding us to? I've visited, and I've said this before on a show, I've visited his facility.
Oh, Action Network?
That Action Network facilities is a facilities from the 70s or 80s. It's horrible. Yeah. So how in the hell do I want to hear from that Negro who I know has all the monies to be able to make a high-tech facility because he travels around getting money, and he's one of those figures in a black community? How I'm going to listen to him? I don't want to hear about your food giveaways and things that you're doing. Those things are for Negroes like me and you who don't have as much as these others who can only have the ability to maybe create something out of our own, because if it's going to come out of our pocket, this is what we can afford. These niggas with access, I don't want to see you doing the simple things that other niggas, the common niggas like ourselves, can handle. Right, we'll take that. We need you to get this other part, especially when niggas like Al Sharpton are very well traveled because they've been in the communities where police brutality has happened. You know what it is. And you still try to play like y'all don't know what it is. And that to me is a fool running blind when a fool can see because they got two glasses. And I don't understand that framework that we continue to support and not call bullshit to be bullshit. It's like, ain't none of you niggas gonna say, hey, great ideas, y'all, but where's the implementation of planning? As far as action planning, not what we got to do, not we all in this together, we got, making these dumbass hashtags. Nigga, we're not all in this together. We are not all together in this, because if we were, I am telling you what we need. And black people, add on to this list, please. I'm just going to say from our immediate standpoint, Barry Axios' his opinion. We need, and this is not all in the number one priority, it's just what I'm thinking. And add on, Queen, and please, for those who's listening on, add on. So we can shovel this list to these so-called special Negroes who want to do all these panels and think that we don't got a clue when we got a clue. One, we need a small black business fund, not necessarily a loan, but if it has to be a loan, have it be a loan, but a trust to save and help pump monies to these small black businesses that are failing and losing more time the more and more we don't get any proper funding. Two, we need every black child that does not have access to a laptop to have a laptop. That needs to happen immediately. If they have any chance of social distance learning, they need to be equipped with a laptop. There should be no excuses. As well, if they don't have the proper internet settings, making a deal with the internet folks and companies doing something that will help provide internet service for individuals in that kind of need. Right on. Three, we need more sufficient healthcare systems and programming facilities and communities that deal with our needs, not with Johnny, not with Linda's, but with black people's needs. Since they're saying we are the coronavirus face of death, we need facilities that focus just generally on black health. We need that immediately. These are like three huge things that we have to sit there and look at immediately. And I also believe that black people, those who have access to money and resources, can also put a stimulus package to help other individuals, only black people, just like the government did, put their money together and give out. I'm not saying it has to be a huge, but something that can help support. I mean, shit, it can be as easy as what Tyler Perry did. He paid for all the groceries for all the elders. Yep. It can be that simple. But I don't believe that they have the notion, the know-how, or in a reality, do they really want to? And my fourth thing out of all of this, we need to get serious about creating our own black political party. That needs to come out of this. This now has to be an agenda that has risen. Since they are pointing a finger at us, we then need to get serious politically on how we change the game. Why are we misrepresented? Because we don't have any political force that represents us. Every representation we have falls under a Democrat or a Republican, which subsides to whatever one rich white person wants to do or another rich white person wants to do. Bottom line, it forms into a system. And the black political party, it's not just a party for black people, it's a party for the people. Because as we know, any black person's endeavor, and you can go back to the Black Panthers, they weren't just feeding and supporting black people, they were feeding and supporting all disenfranchised black people. And the fifth any black organization that's doing community work, whether it's access to laptops, whether it's access to food, whether it's support for their children with this depression, this suicide, whatever, whether it's virtual learning, whatever it is, they should get supported 110% by these so-called special Negroes and these Negro elite, so they continue to do the grassroots work, because we are the ones that truly understand and get the pulse of what our community needs. If you want to do something correct, fly around in your jet plane that you know you ain't gonna get corona in, and meet the people on the ground. Stop talking to the people that just show up, and we have to pay for their ass to show up and tell us what the problem is. The state of black emergency has been here. These are just some of the simple things. If we're not serious like that, this pandemic continues, because it's always been, because we have not seriously said, let us solve our problems. Point blank, period.
Well, Barry, you got some comments. Brother Marv is saying, I agree with brother. Anything with Al Sharpton attached to it is suspicious. Sarah says, speak that truth. Another sister said, exactly. Hold on, it was another one. Sarah also said that the seat at the table, no guarantee. I'm trying to find a thing. It's bullshit, more waste of time. They're agreeing with what we're talking about. What can be done? So Sarah's question to you is, what can be done now to galvanize our community to be in a better position post-corona? And before you answer that, I just want to say, Barry, and I agree with everything you said, as always, but I think the hardest thing with black folks is because we have an identity problem. See, Negroes, they don't want to be black. Negroes, I put a post up about this I shared where they're saying where all these nail shops who basically make millions off of black folks, have they tried to help the communities that they're stationed in? And you know, one black person gonna say, well, what about the black man? So we all go to one Negro who threw a brick through the window. And it's like, dude, this ain't got nothing to do with them giving money back to the communities. But because we have an identity problem, we don't even know we're black. we don't even feel attached sometimes to anything that's positive and good about being black, because all we know, we think black is something that's negative and just full of trauma and fighting videos, and all the negative shit get to be black people shit for some people. And so I feel like everything you said was on point, but some of them Negroes don't even like being black. Check who their mates are. Check who they help make money with. Check where they live at. Check who they are more happy being around. And so it's kind of like, you know, I always tend to look, this is just my personal thing. When I'm rolling with people, I kind of look at their whole surrounding. What makes them happy? Do they struggle when they with black people? You know, are they fidgety? Are they like, you know, really don't want to be here with us? Like, you know, like, do they nitpick every goddamn thing we do? You know, are they builders with us? Do they say, hey, Barry, pick a building, let me, this extra money. I throw this money in the club anyway. I'll buy that building and let you run it, and then we figure out the rest. But we could do that. But if you don't love your people, because I watch other groups love their people so much that they make the shit happen. Yeah. You don't have 7 out of 10 homes owned in America owned in California by Asian people if they don't be about their goddamn business. Right. And I'm pretty sure they don't have as much high-paying power jobs as black people have. I'm pretty sure they don't have as much degrees as black people have. I'm pretty sure they don't have historical Asian colleges turning out Asian people. I'm just saying. So I just feel like it's all of those little things.
They have countries that they submit to, though.
Huh?
They have countries that they submit to, though.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I'm just saying, like, they don't have all these things that we have been told that we needed to have. Yeah. Like, education is good if it uplifts you. If it makes you oppress your own people, then that's probably not a good education. Yeah. If it makes you move out your hood, that's probably not a good education. If it allows you to be a great renter, and you renting a big house and you ain't bought, and you could have bought the 10 houses on your block for all the material that you have, that's probably not a good education you got.
I remember going to the, you know, you're totally spot on. One, and then let me add on to that list. I forgot this, that one of the most important things I forgot. I apologize. Agriculture. We used to be the kings of agriculture. We have to be very And we have to be very quick to think about why we are no longer a part of the agricultural movement, where we must reinvest these ideas. Because if we were all still in the agriculture game, if we were all having our farms, whether it's a little garden, you know what we could be doing? We wouldn't really have to run to the grocery store. And I feel like that we're so separated from so many of these different things, it unfortunately creates this idea that they're trying to promote to us, that we are all things bad. And that's one of the things that I have a problem with, but we're going to get to that later. But let me go back onto what you were just saying, Queen. You're spot on. And I think that it takes commitment, and it really does take value in self, because I really truly believe there's more people that look like us that despise us. And I see it every day. I mean, I see it every day. Just as me as an individual, I ain't trying to hurt nobody. All I'm doing is trying to wake up a few people and save a few folks along the way. But the reality is, success comes with a lot of pain and sorrow for Black people. It comes with selling out. It comes with like lynching your own people, discarding your own people, like staying away from your own people. Because as we know, some of our most prolific artists have been killed by their own people. I ain't heard not one country music singer. I ain't heard not one rock and roll artist or one R&B white person ever kill any of their rivals. But I know that we do it. We do it like every single day. And I've seen us from boardrooms to the streets still act like vultures to each other. We don't even know who the common enemy and the common ground is. That's not saying we don't have to disagree.
Right. No, we got 3 Black men on the city council, and the business loans, how many of that went to South area?
I know I didn't get one.
Those 2 got 2 Black councilmen, by the way. I heard most of those loans went to Midtown and downtown.
Yeah. But in the reality, what did you expect was going to end up happening? So I believe that, to me, it's not a deep thought for me to realize what we're at and where we're against. It's just we too much as a people celebrate the bullshit because we want to attach it to, I'm celebrating them because they are a representation of us. But guess what? Though we celebrated O.J. Simpson and him getting away because we wanted to say, if y'all gonna let them killer cops go, those cops that brutalized Rodney King, well, hey, we're gonna go for O.J. And O.J. is just a Black man that's living in a white society that's basically white. You know, he's just been blessed with melon. But he's white. and there's too many Negroes like that. Because the idea of us saying we've made it and we kind of segregate ourselves from our own people and then cry about segregation, it's something that we do. We self-indulge in the bullshit every single time. So when I see an artist, again, like P. Diddy, who is saying a dance-a-thon, it's like, damn, that nigga was Jerry Lewis, the white guy that used to do that back in the days when I was a little kid. And you know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any amends to what truly our issue is and our problems. And we do have a scale of issues with Black people because they love to entertain. They love to take our money just like the oppressor. And you rarely get Negroes to really go hands in on really putting all of their loins into saving a community. Because guess what? They even know that that's a bad investment. They even know the conditions of our people, because helping our people, we really do have a sick condition, and we got to be honest with that. I love our people, but many of our people just and it's because of the psychological damage, right? From years and years of everything in between. I cannot expect a Black child to understand or follow the safe, the social distancing, shelter in place like a kid in East Sacramento, because guess what? They've never been taught any of that. They've never seen any of that. They've been living with people in a one bedroom with 8 people. That to them is normal. So you can't consider thinking that we can do these things when we've never been taught or seen these things be done. And for the life of me, when you have our Surgeon General basically go up there and do a Bill Cosby rendition of "We have to step up."
A Bill Cosby rendition.
Trust me, and I understand it, but how are you gonna make it seem like Niggles is the only one drinking liquor? Niggles is the only one smoking. Niggles is the only one eating bad food. How you gonna make it seem like that's just us? That's the shit that kills me. What? It's a yes. Keith, my man Keith just said it's generations of conditioning. So we've conditioned ourselves to believe everything is, if it's black, it got to have something bad. And what the Surgeon General doesn't understand,
he do understand
that public statement.
He's just on the other team.
Listen, that made that public statement, the way he made that public statement, right? What he doesn't know, that helps those that have a narrative of us already. It makes them say, see, I told you it's all those black people that are spreading this corona. I told you they're not practicing social distancing. When I'm watching white boys on the golf course having a gay old time, but I'm going to different neighborhoods. And I think I'm going to take a picture of it, sis. I live in a neighborhood that ain't really white, but it ain't really black. It's a multicultural kind of neighborhood. It's not on the high end, but it's not in a bad area. I live in a pretty decent area, right? Our playgrounds are still open. You go into the neighborhoods that are considered more high risk, they have yellow tape. I promise you, I'm going to go out, I'm going to take a picture, and I'm going to say, look, yellow tape, go to my park, no tape. And this is real life. This is real shit that's going on right now, currently. And I just think that trying to always having to adjust to having folks give a improper narrative, like, dear Surgeon General, do you know why Niggles drink alcohol? Do you know why Niggles smoke? Do you know why Niggles eat up all the bad food? Well, look at our food deserts. Look at our communities that were plagued with drugs. And look at all the liquor stores that you probably ain't said nothing about that are owned by other people, Middle Easterns or Asians, that flood our community. But you never said any or explained any of that. You didn't say, I know in these communities how the conditions are, but black people, we need to be raised with awareness that these things are killing us. Not saying we need to step up like these things just happen because black people put them there. Like we put there.
America, we always step up. What are you talking about?
Get the fuck out of here. That's bullshit. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, Negro, without Negro stepping up, America would be in the worst predicament as it is. The only thing this is social economics just colliding, and we're really seeing the framework of what capitalism truly does to the masses. You can't have Amazon making billions and then Amazon pay no taxes. It just don't work. And you and I are getting riddled with taxes, and we the common Negro. It just does not work. So it's an improper balance, and I hate when these special Negroes are on here with a silly Negro shit, not explaining it in a true form, and they're fascinated by the reaction of black people. And the coldest part about it, some black people, they get this narrative and they run with it. They really truly believe that all of the things that the media, do you think the media is going to show you an Easter party full of white people? Of course they're going to show you a bunch of Negroes on Easter Sunday outside, not showing social distancing, not practicing sheltering. Come on, Negroes. Why would they show them? Why would they do that? They wouldn't.
Well, Barry, look, I live in Elk Grove. I ain't going to lie. Me and Christy went walking yesterday, and this is some nice parks over here. We got nice trails. And our park was taped off, but it was like these pretty round, like, tapes that, you know, you can still go play on them, really. I mean, it was just like they put the tape around it, but you really can't, like, you really could still play on it. But they just put the tape around the whole thing. So that little kids, he just get up under that, jump over it or whatever. But you're right. You're right. I don't know if you've seen this, Barry, but because I try to go walking in the evening because Christy's my walking buddy and she don't like walking in the morning. So in the evening, everybody and their mama be outside walking their kids. I'm not kidding. And most of them don't have on face masks. You know, most of them is white. I'm not going to front. But they do be out there walking with their kids, having their little stroll on the trail. Because I'm in there trying to get my 3 miles in just to keep myself up. You know what I mean? But they be out there with all their kids and the grandkids and, you know, everybody walking their peoples. And this where I live at, it's a pretty nice section. But I agree. I think that there's so many things that come with being Black that most folks will never really understand in this Black experience. I'm not trying to be funny. You can find an example of everything in the Black experience. You can find a compromising Negro. You can find a radical Negro. You can find all different types of Black folks, and because Black people are more diverse than we give ourselves credit for being. You can find that Black-white person, you know, who look Black but have white people's agenda or white supremacy agenda in their heart and on their mind and off their lips, and they're going to stick to it even if the ship is going down. They're going to be right there saluting like they in that damn movie when the ship was going down. They're going to be doing that with their oppressor. Then there's some people that's going to get up and do what we do, Barry, help our people the best way we can, give them all that we have, because we understand that we are part of that great continuum of people like Harriet Tubman, of people like Sojourner Truth, of people like Marcus Garvey. Now, we're part of that design. You know, then there's some Negroes who watch from the sidelines. And those Negroes be up there either criticizing or cheering you on, but then they're going to be the one, Barry, who walk through the doors that we created and kicked down and the holes that we made to get through. They're going to be the ones going through there, which is why you don't see us advancing, because they get through there and then they don't help no goddamn body. They in there patching the hole up so nobody else can come through. They up there barricading the door so nobody else can come behind them. So you can find every example of people or persons in the Black community, in the Black experience.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many times if you see somebody, I'm just going to be honest, say if you see this mixed person and they up there being blacker than Black, they will find the darkest Black person you've ever seen in your life to counter that goddamn person. Like, we got to have the right Negro to counter this fool. We got to get the right Negro, the one who's going to be very convincing. Like, I've seen that shit and be like, here comes the Black person. I already know.
And, you know, sis, also, too, Black people, we're in love with fraudulent Negroes.
Oh.
We'll keep fraudulent Negroes. It don't matter what kind of evidence. We're going to try to find one piece of what Negro could have did and said something great 2 years ago. But like, it turns out this Negro is super fraud. We still going to try to, and that's just that's the coldest part of how we never move or navigate. Sis, listen to what we're asking for. Okay. We're not asking, one more thing on that list. Excuse me. Let me go back to my list. Them Negroes was not talking about reparations. I don't want to hear nothing them Negroes got to say.
They think they are the reparations.
Fuck what they talking about. You heard? I don't want to hear nothing. Them Negroes ain't had a plan, like political party and now reparations. Like, Negroes don't sit there and say, like, what hard truth was them Negroes talking? Like, was them niggas like, all right, check this out, y'all. We done seen them give us a stimulus package, right? Right. Now it's time for us to move, because we already have people on the ground moving in silos to try to get this thing happening. But now we're going to put our energy, our time, our flex, our resources, our access to really make this make sense, because now they've showed us a card and we know they have access to give us money. They wasn't talking about that on the panel. They didn't talk about that. And if they did, for those who watched it, and I salute you if you did. I mean, I get it, because I guess where me and Mama Ro is, it's not negativity towards our people at all. We're not trying to be that. But it is us knowing when you've done the work, as long as we've done the work. And that's not saying that, nobody can do the work, but that's like remember when it was funny, I was talking to Stockdale when I dropped her some food and we were talking. Remember when some of my minions tried to assassinate my character when they had the little baby? Remember that? Remember that shit? Yeah, remember that? And I told you, I was like, nah, sis, There's some bullshit. You're like, Barry, nah. I said, and you were like, nah, you know I ain't gonna let nobody go. I said, no, sis, you ain't got shit to do with this. I tell you what it is. And then you call me 3 hours later, say, boy, Barry, right? It's the problem is because we have so often a shift of leadership, right? From new to old to new, and all this. Negroes forget what happened in the past. What we're saying is we've seen this before.
Yeah. It's a rerun.
That's why we're not buying into it. It's like, it's been here. Remember, for folks that don't understand what we're talking about, MJ from Black Blueprint, she did the research. I said, look up trap, what is it? Vote or Die from Puff Daddy. And she looked it up, 2004. Remember, Negroes, the Vote or Die campaign? Citizen Change is what he called himself. Puff Daddy, again, recreating his brand, moving to the political purpose. He navigated this Vote or Die campaign for Negroes to go vote. And I'm gonna tell you, sis, he had me hooked. I said, oh shit, Vote or Die, I'm going to the polls. He had them dope ass shirts, whatever. I remember that. And you know what came out of that Vote or Die? Not a black political party in mother effing sight. And that to me speaks volumes to what we have when I say, Negro, we're not hating. Negro, we're just critiquing bullshit because we've seen it before. And that's the problem when you have certain shifts. Like I said, the mutiny that happened, that was happening because you Negroes didn't do your history, because little Negroes, I was doing this way before you even thought about it.
I know.
So you can't sit there and explain to me nothing that's going on. Now we can jointly come together. And matter of fact, the reason why some of your movement is moving is because of access that I gave you and resources I gave you. So stop playing. And that becomes the issue that we have. We so forget about history. It speaks volumes to what is now present.
It's the whole playbook, Barry. It's the whole
playbook. So Michael Carmichael, he tried to create a black political party. You understand what I'm saying? When there was that disconnect between Republicans and Democrats, what did they do? They created a Green Party
and the Tea Party,
and a Tea Party. All right. So the idea and the thoughts that we don't look at these things that we're doing, and we're not trying to make a real move and a real strike at things that can change the game, because people beware. The game is going to be changed, and Negroes is going to be stuck again. And that's what concerns me, because when I got Negroes talking about getting masks to a whole bunch of people, and I got Negroes that won't support functional, sustainable things that are feeding the people, I really, really have to say, holy smokes, what the hell are we doing? When I'm hearing Negroes not talk about laptops, not going to their Googles, not going to their Apples, not going to their Amazons, not targeting those Twitters, those Facebooks, who all utilize all of our intellectual property to create massive amount of wealth. And we're not demanding them to do something for our black people and demanding our quote unquote special Negroes who have these special relationships for them to do something more, instead of doing dance-a-thons to come get out of our pockets and then feed your pockets and then turn around and never get it to the people that need it. It's asinizing. And we do it over and over and over again because no one has the brave heart to sit there and say it to these Negroes like, that shit ain't gonna work. That's fine that if you want to have that as part of the plan, but that can't be the only plan. That can't be the, all right, we're going to do it like this. One thing that I hated that an organization that I was a part of, or I'm still a part of, did, was they did something so minute, and I challenged it, but I wanted to see how it played out. And how it played out is exactly how I thought. When you have them by the throat, when you have America begging for you to help, you must go ahead and choke them out like they did us.
Mm.
They never let up. When enslavement was over, they figured out other ways to enslave us. Do we not understand that? Enslavement was allegedly over. And they still figured out a way with black codes to make sure we still were enslaved. How do you not understand the ramifications of that? And then here we are playing this violin, trying to be nice at their dinner table instead of saying, you know what? I'm going to do my own dinner table, crying. And we talking about masks, dance-a-thons, and we ain't talking about laptops, building agriculture. We're not talking about political parties. We're not talking about forming our new banks, because guess what? Supporting black businesses then starts a formation of creating our own black banks with our own surplus. Do we not understand how all of this can make sense? But Negroes don't really want to do that, because then they'll be outcast. They will have to come back to being in this Negro land that they really don't want. They love the accolades of the oppressor. They love to be in the company of the oppressor. It's okay to piss off the oppressor, but to really destroy the oppressor, that's why none of these Negroes said not one thing about Harvey Weinstein. Not one thing. That's why none of these Negroes ever talked about Jeffrey Epstein. That's why none of these Negroes never really, now some of them, because it's politically correct, ever denounced Donald Trump. Because the company that they keep, and they were aware of these atrocious things these mother effers were all about, the company they kept and the access they had was better for them than going out their way and speaking truth to power or separating themselves and doing stuff for black people. Because really doing stuff for black people, actuality and honesty, it's not popular. Because empowering us who are already powered, but we don't utilize our power, it creates something that America doesn't really want to see. That black independence is something America has always feared. And we truly are in the moment where it can happen, but I don't think that we're able or have the ability to push it forward, because we I guess we just don't want to.
I also think we're afraid of self-governance. I think when you do self-governance, you can't point the finger at nobody but yourself. You have to be accountable. Self-governance is scary. I always say, Barry, a lot of us have never had the experience of self-governance, responsible for whatever that you do. Some people live to blame other people because they will not take any responsibility for themselves. And I'm not trying to be funny. And I don't believe, this is just my personal opinion from my own experience. I love this black experience. I grew up around people, though they were poor, they had self-governance. Because they knew no one was going to come and help them. So they had to help themselves. I come from a tradition where America did not support us.
At all.
All we had was us for real.
Yeah, that was that. Back then, that was a real statement.
Yeah, that for real. And so it's kind of like you had to be accountable. You had to step up. You had to do it yourself. So no, I'm not going to take my cue from people who don't even like me. Like, come on, Barry, come on. That's like, let's just say this. Because what I don't do is when people do scare tactics, that shit does not work on me.
I guarantee you this. If we email P. Diddy's people and to tell them to come down on our show to explain the state of a black emergency, he would look at us like, why would I do that? Like, who the hell we are? No, I'm being honest.
No,
because
he would do just what you're gonna say, but also it's kind of like, that's like a what they call a wooden nickel trying to come down and be with a real nickel.
Yeah.
Well, nobody uses wooden nickels.
Yeah, exactly.
Not real.
Well, he's the dollar and we're the quarter. So he's like, why would a dollar want to be connected to a quarter? You know what I'm talking about?
Well, in this world, he thinks he's a dollar and we're a quarter.
In
our world, Barry, but in our world, we're obtainable.
Yes.
We on the ground floor getting the work in. Because this is all over. He will be buried. We will be remembered.
Well, here's the thing about it. The funny part about it is this. these Negroes are figuring out they need us more than we really need them.
You better say that again.
Because sis, I have not, though I watch sports, I totally jumped off that bandwagon of supporting this football band. If I want to watch football, I'm gonna watch football. It ain't got shit to do with anything. It's just entertainment for me. If them niggas is gonna still run and catch a football and ain't gonna stop, then whatever. But since all that stuff is out, basketball, whatever, I ain't cried not one bit. And I am entertained at watching half these Negroes who all their talking points, all of their, and a lot of y'all have seen it too, because y'all have watched them from every sport conversation to now having no sports conversation and to really being dull ass people, some dull ass Negroes, like having nothing to say about nothing. They're just, there's no energy. There's no, where's all that aggressiveness? Where's that passion? Like, reality is a lot of us are figuring out that those folks need us more than we need them, because we've had to figure out a way to entertain ourselves besides watching Negroes entertain us. And they have not figured out a way to entertain us in a way that makes us want to watch, because all we wanted to watch them really do is play into what? The athletics or the singing. We want them to do what they want to do, that they were paid to do. And what we're really realizing, we don't really need that much. If you really think about it, this reset button is a good reset. It gets back to rebalance things. Because if you're really sitting there complaining about being at home and you're saying that you're bored, yeah, you got rich people in big ass houses talking about they're bored. I wouldn't be bored for one day. Because I got time to spend with my family. I got time to enjoy the fruits of my labor. Like, this is a reset. And I'm still going to figure out a way to do something in the weeks of my day. I've been watching your ass grind. You have never had this much amount of time to put all your shows and create the network the way it is, right? I have been able to really test the grounds of getting back into that culinary kitchen. I ain't been there for a while, but working with my brothers, the Three Black Chefs, as well as giving back, as well as supporting my business and moving my business from every first and third Saturday to doing it every week and adding 2 more days, as well as pushing my catering. So this reset that everybody is so, oh my God, this is the best moment for you to find yourself, figure out what you want to do in the next 20 years, not the next 10, the next 20 years, and be able to put yourself in a position so when this shit comes around again, because something like this is going to come around again, because now we're watching the standards of what America does. America's now going to hit us, and I don't know if it's going to be every 10 years, just can't really sit there and say the chain of commands, but now we're more aware they're going to hit us. They started off way before when, but I just remember, I'm just going to start with 9/11. Then you got the great, the second Great Depression, and now you have the coronavirus, the pandemic. So we all know that we are going to be hit with something. We don't know what it is, because it seems like it changes from terrorist threat to a crashing economy to mass chaos in a way of economics, socially, as well as governing body, where states really taking more precedence of their own government, of their own state compared to what the national folks are doing, right? It's like states are kind of doing their own thing, and I think that's why the pandemic has hit all states differently. It's different in Houston, it's different in New Orleans, it's different in New York, it's different in California, right? I think it shows that our national leadership has no clue what they're actually doing. So for us to blindly walk and look at, as we talked about our R's, when we talk about resetting, we talk about rebuilding, reorganizing, re-energizing, revitalizing what we have. If you're not taking this time and really seeing where your life has to split from people, separate or regain with people, or doing some things that can take you again to the next 20 years, then you have a big problem. If you are only able to condition yourself by someone constantly telling you what time to wake up, what time to take lunch. I mean, if you really, let's be very clear, sis. Negroes were prisoners of a system without bars. So as much as we want to act like we were free, this is the most freedom that Niggles has had. Because at the end of the day, everybody got off at like 3 or 4 o'clock. We jammed in with traffic. Everybody had to get up about 6, 5, 7 to get to a place of work. And then tell your ass a whole bunch of bullshit. I mean, come on. That's why I really believe when we talk about all those folks that was claiming about abolishment, and ain't not one of them come up with a plan. Ain't not one of them came up with a strategy. Liberate. Not one plan. Not one. I just laugh at it because the joke's on you for believing a lot of the rhetoric. So anybody that says they're bored, you got to look at them funny. A child says they're bored. Because a child should be bored, to be honest with you, because I was bored when I was a kid. If I was hyperactive and I could run outside, play with my friends, and now I got to sit there with some parents that just want to watch CNN all day. You get what I'm saying? Or may not even have a TV, can't even afford cable, whatever. I hear a child saying they're bored, but I better not hear adults, especially adults that have some money or have some access. And I don't want to hear the stories of ball players or entertainers that are talking about they need a check and they're broke. Why didn't your black ass save any damn money, you idiot? That's what I have to say. That's silly Negro shit. This is the best reset button we can possibly find that we were never going to get. And believe me, I'm a business owner. Me and my business partner, we can't open up our thrift store. You guess what? Don't feel good, but it's going to feel a lot better when folks come back into our store and our store elevates. But we're going to be able to weather the storm. So all of this ideas of this being such a bad thing, the only bad thing is they're going to find a way to vaccinate all of us. They're going to find a way. I don't believe the numbers that they keep on perpetuating. I don't believe that. I don't believe everyone is now dying off coronavirus. We're not talking about cancer no more. We're not talking about suicides no more. We're not talking about motor vehicle deaths. We're not talking about shootings. We're acting as if everything AIDS. We're not talking about no other disease but goddamn corona. And that's a very deadly mark. And I'm telling folks, stop listening to conspiracy theorists. Stop looking for media. Do your own research. Do your own mind search and really continue to build up your immune system. But also don't buy into everything. Don't buy into everything. We have to now practice self-care in such a way that we've never practiced before. But we also have to pry into our own self-knowledge. We must not be fools of the moment.
So, Barry, let me ask you this about the presidency. Do you think they're going to use some scare tactics around that?
They already have. I think they already had, sis. I mean, I think everything is, my brother Keith said, the new terrorist threat. Yeah, this is all, this is like, yeah, this is a new terrorist threat. Like once upon a time, we were all talking about Anglo-Saxons being the face of the new terrorism, right? The domestic terrorism in our community. Now we're talking about bio terrorism in America. All things that we said would never happen. I myself personally will not go to a doctor's office or a hospital of any sorts right now. Hell the F no. I will not be used like a guinea pig. So I'm going to try not to break my legs. I'm going to try not to break my arm because I don't want to go in there with a fractured finger. And next thing you know, I'm on a ventilator. You doing a show, you doing on a show next Tuesday, like my brother Barry is in ICU. I thought he just mashed his finger. I don't know, girl, what happened. I'm just not for it because I just can't trust. I just can't trust a system that we know.
Historically,
sis, that we know has done what they've done. Syphilis, the Tuskegee experiment, the crack cocaine epidemic. Right? I mean, we can go on days and hours, list. I mean, come on, man. I just am not gonna all of a sudden think that they've changed their mind and said, no, we're gonna do this one a little bit different. The only thing, this all affects us all at one particular time. And to be honest with you, for me, I had my pandemic maybe 3 times before this. And I'm thankful in this moment. I'm good but I'm also thankful that everybody is sharing in this moment with me. So it's not like you're alone. For the depressed people, I truly understand it. And for those people stressed out, I truly understand it. But from here, listen to Uncle B for a little bit. Go back to the most depressing, most I can't believe I don't think I'm gonna make it moment that you've had in your life. That was a lot more difficult than this right here. You could still go to the grocery store. You can still communicate with your friends. It's just that we can't do as much. And really, to be honest with you, if you trust people, you can still have them come over and you can still have a time and moment. You know what I'm saying? This ain't that bad. Niggles is saving a lot of money right now, to be honest with you.
That's so true.
We spend money on frivolous things just to spend. Now, before, like, I would be having just some money and I just spend it on some shoes just because I want to get some shoes. Now I can't get no shoes because the mall ain't open. You understand what I'm saying? So this reset ain't that bad, Queen. That's just my opinion, though.
No. You know what? You're absolutely correct, Barry. You're absolutely correct. Brother Kevin Muhammad passed away as we get to wrap up. 2 more minutes. Do you know, brother? I didn't know brother Kevin Muhammad, but I know you.
I didn't. Like I said, I'm here. He was a very influential brother in the nation. I seen folks posting up about him, but I think that speaks volumes to our community. Like when you started having individuals that were influential in their community and their space, that they start passing away. You take this stuff seriously, and everything that we're saying is not to say that people aren't dying, because we believe people are dying, but we also are saying this idea that I think they're fragmenting this new face of Corona being black is careless. And I think that it creates a negative narrative that we already have, this idea that we're the only ones not social distancing and not sheltering in place. It kind of creates this idea that black people are the only outlaws, when I know there's white folks that we've talked about and Asian folks are out there doing their thing. I mean, whatever. I just think that it hits home when you start seeing and knowing individuals, you take it more seriously. But I think that if this is not allowing us to have the wake-up call and actually say we have to do something that's better than what we've been doing. That's like not saying we have to chastise individuals, but we have to hold folks to the fire that are claiming to be for us. Trust me when I tell you, after I'm done doing my 3 Black Chefs thing, I have a nice little list of people that I'm going to chastise, because I'm no longer playing this because you play me like a sucker, I'm going to play you like a flute. That's just what that's just me, because I'm just tired of us continuing to. The only way niggas is going to do right when you call niggas out to the forefront and say, this is what this nigga been doing behind closed doors. I'm going to be honest with y'all. And this is not coming off a place of malice. It's not doing dirty work like some folks, because I've had folks come at me and it's like they had no merit. It's one thing to have no merit, and it's one thing to be like, I've watched people do it, and it's not. The way they do it, they operate out of malice in the first place. But this is just real times that we have to start saying, so what were you doing during the pandemic? And I'm not celebrating niggas getting a bunch of face masks, because at the end of the day, we don't necessarily need face masks like that. We need laptops. We need small Black businesses being supported. We need to help produce more agriculture and support those who are creating agriculture. There are some people that have farms, you know what I'm saying, that we can help pump monies into helping them be able to produce more to help the masses. There are individuals, like I say, if anybody wants to go support the 3 Black Chefs on what we're doing, GoFundMe, 3 Black Chefs, Cash App, Barry Accius, BERRY, capital ACCIUS, as well as the PayPal, the #1 voiceoftheyouth@gmail.com. We'll repost that up to help support our efforts. Please, continue to help support, because I'm gonna tell you all the truth. The only people that supported was community. We ain't had no heavy push from so-called community leadership except one person. That was a white woman.
I ain't doubting that.
You know what I mean? And shouts out to my sister. And we don't agree with a lot of stuff. I don't agree with a lot of stuff she does, but we have a camaraderie with each other that, you know what I'm saying? That's what one thing black people have to understand. See, I don't hate my people. I only dislike people that dislike me. So as I criticize or not even critique some of the things that some of our black folks are doing that ain't really for us, it's not hate. It's just like it doesn't make any sense at this particular time, because me being a common Negro with not that much, you being a common Negro woman with not that much, how are we able to almost give our last? I don't understand. How are we able to see what has to be done? How many times have you yelled, health clinic, health clinic, health clinic? I mean, we have 10 churches, 10 churches on one block, and we ain't got no health clinic.
Nope.
We have all food deserts. We have all food deserts, and we don't have no good dining restaurants. I mean, come on, folks. This is not a bashing session. It's just a let's get real session. I'm gonna call it like that. It's a just let's get real session. And again, 3 Black Chefs on GoFundMe. Please support that. It's been community driven, community supported. Thank you. And again, leadership in the Negro realm has failed miserably. Failed us miserably. I'm not giving no props to no Negro leadership that's being bestowed in a hierarchy, because guess what? It's fun to do other things for everybody, but you and I both know Black people are a whole different subject by itself. If we don't do stuff that just targets us, we're failing.
Well, look, Barry, I'm also a firm believer, and this is just my truth, is that if you cannot take criticism, if we can't talk about the hard parts, we're not going to survive. Everything is not a hunky-dory, let's feel positive all the time kind of vibe. You know, sometimes I push the hardest when I'm trying to correct something. If somebody tell me, hey, Ro, you know, it's like when you go to your doctor and they tell you stop eating salt. You don't be like, well, that's going to make me feel bad. You be like, I'm not going to feel as good without that salt in my body, because for so long I've been just eating salt. You know, it's the same thing, y'all. You know, you got to have this tongue lashing. You gotta take these hits if we going to get better. And we know that. You know, the funny thing that gets me with some of us, and I use the words like some, but Black folks don't ever hear the word some for some damn reason. But anyway, I just feel like there is just something. We're so brilliant. We really are. But we just fight against accountability, self-accountability, you know, self-responsibility, self-governance. I think this Corona has showed us the importance of self-governance, because now you have to be in the house, in your own home, and you have to govern yourself.
Wow.
How you eat, how you communicate, how you think, you know, what you do. You got to spend time with the little ones, the big ones. I mean, I hope most people still be married after this. Divorces after this, because being stuck with somebody and it's been more than a month, that's a hell of a thing.
That's a hell of a thing. That's a hell of a thing. You know, and on top of that, Negroes, and I'm gonna speak for the Black men. You know, I know it happens both ways, but don't hit your spouse, man. Don't hit your girlfriend. It's not the time. Don't abuse your child. You know what I mean? Like, this ain't the time. This ain't the time, because maybe you didn't step up in a way, or she may be talking too much, or the kids is bothering you. It's not time for abuse. And I've heard that domestic violence on all levels has spiked, but that's some stuff we ain't gonna talk about. You know what I mean?
Here's what, and I'm not saying this is not happening, so please don't take it that way. But I also think we love, like, what's the word I'm looking for, Barry? Like when you like to blow things up. How do we get proportion? Yeah, how do we get the stats that domestic violence has gone up?
I guess for the cases that have been called in by to police officers.
Because I mean, I'm gonna have to check on that, and I'm not saying it's not happening, but I think sometimes in our rush to urgency, we exaggerate.
No, I get it. Yeah,
that's like them exaggerating Black folks dying of Corona.
Yeah,
how do we know that?
Yeah, that's why I just can't.
Because most of us ain't Black in the first place.
Well, here's the thing about it too. You know, like, and that's also telling niggas to go get tested, right? And what it means when niggas go get tested, right? I'm just saying. That makes niggas like, oh man, I gotta go test it, find out, I'm gonna, and then what? You find out you got it, then what you gonna do? You become a guinea pig. That's why I say practice social distancing, shelter in place. If you ain't gotta go out, you ain't gotta go out. And this is not the government controlling me or nothing like that. It's just, I don't know what kind of scheme they got going. I'm gonna move like I'm supposed to move. But today, guess what? I'm in the house all day. Probably maybe one time going out. But I'm not going to be moving and grooving the way I usually am. That's just me.
Well, Barry, we've come to another complete show.
Dun, 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 dun. Once again, 3 Black Chefs, GoFundMe 3 Black Chefs, Cash App Barry Axius, and as well as PayPal 1, the number 1 voice of the youth at gmail.com. And remember, that's 3 Black Chefs, the number 3. If you guys want to go ahead and continue to donate, we continue to support our community as, we continue to build revolutionary and show how we're supposed to do it, and the enactment of what the Black Panthers and so many of our ancestors did before us in moments like this, and not even moments like that, is because it was necessary.
And y'all take this time, go on to YouTube. There's great documentaries. I watched one last night talking about the great empire of Kush, and then Kush was bad. I didn't even know that. I mean, in terms of what it was about, there's such great documentary. You really could educate yourself on how great we really are. And YouTube is free, y'all. I mean, they may have some commercial if you don't pay for the service, but hey, you got commercials on TV.
Don't pay for the service.
Yeah, but you could be watching. No, for real, you could be watching something that would elevate your mind. See, I find when I watch documentaries like that, it keeps me pushing right now.
Yep.
So watch some of that. Cut out the fight videos. Now I must admit they're tempting because I've seen some. I was like, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, cut out all the drama, gossip. And remember, also support your local Black businesses, the eateries that are still open. Support them all. Support them all. The moms and pops, the ones that have brick and mortars, and the ones like myself, Seriously Delicious Dining, that are just navigating the way we're navigating with takeouts and deliveries.
Right on. So
all right,
we out. Don't hang up, Barry. We out.